Number 7, I really don't know why they don't put this on your pie chart before they have you do all that graphing, but they don't. They have you fill in what's called a function table. It's just like when we did the x and y in our table when we were graphing all our points. H of x is what they call functional notation. It's the same thing as having y equal something, but it's a way to name your lines so that if you have 3 or 4 lines on the same graph, you can call one h of x and one g of x and one f of x, so you know which one goes with which equation. So this is just the same thing we've been doing. I'm going to substitute the number in for the x, but I'm really only doing the work on the right-hand side. I'm finding what my answer is if I put -3 over here on the right and solve it. So first one is written like this. They'll do this. H of -3 to tell you, oh, I'm putting -3 in for my x. And then they're going to do it on the other side. 4 times -3 minus 5. I don't know why I put that parenthesis there. I was just busy writing. And then I'm going to find the answer to that. So 4 times -3 is -12. -12 minus 5 is -17. And so I'm going to put it into my table. When x is 3, my answer is -17. So then they tell you on the next one, well, let's use -2. So they're going to write it as h of -2 to show that, oh, -2 is the number I'm putting in for my x. But I'm really going to put it in on the other side. 4 times the -2 minus the 5. And then I'm just going to solve that right-hand side. 4 times -2 is -8. -8 minus 5 is -13. So when x is 2, my answer is -13. So the next one says I'm going to do 0. H of 0 would be 4 times 0 minus 5. If we solve that one, we're going to have what? Four times 0 is 0, and 0 minus 5 gives us -5, right? And then we get to do the next one, which says to do h of 1. So 4 times 1 minus 5. 4 times 1 minus 5 would give me
-1.
-1. 4 minus 5 is -1. And then last but not least on this one is 3. H of 3 means I'm going to do 4 times 3 minus 5. If I do 4 times 3 minus 5, I get 7. 12 minus 5 is 7. If you would have a graph that was big enough and you plotted all 5 of those points, they should all line up in a nice straight line because we have what's called a linear equation. A linear equation is what we've been graphing. They all graph like lines. They just have a plain x in it. It doesn't have a squared or a cubed or any weird things like that. So they call that a linear function because if I put them all on a graph, they all end up in a straight line. And that's why I don't know why they didn't do those first. So, number 8. We're going to start and figure out what h of -5 is. So on h of -5, what are you going to do? -2 times -5 plus 4, which gives us an answer of?
10 plus 4.
Which is?
14.
14. We get 10 plus 4, which is 14. And then we're going to do h of -1. So if we take -2 times -1 plus 4, we get an answer of?
6.
6. 2 plus 4 gives us 6. And then we do h of 0. -2 times 0 plus 4. Gave us that nice end number 4. We did all those with the y-intercepts. And then we do h of 3. So negative 2 times 3 plus 4. And our answer is
6 plus 4. Negative 2?
negative 2. Negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2, right? And then we have to do the 4. So h of 4 would be negative 2 times 4 plus 4. Gives us an answer of negative 4. Negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4, right? Number 9. We have h of x equals negative x plus 1. Now again, keep in mind if you have trouble with that negative x, what's another way you can write negative x?
1x.
Negative 1x. So if it helps, write it as negative 1x plus 1. Otherwise, on Alex, you would probably see them write this. They'd have minus, and then they're going to put the negative 1 in, plus 1. When you do minus a negative 1, you get a positive 1. And 1 plus 1 is 2. Or if you did negative 1 times negative 1, you still get positive 1. So they probably won't put the 1 there, but if you need to and it helps you out, put it there. h of 0. We'd have minus a 0 plus 1. My answer on that would just be
0. No, plus 1.
plus 1, because this would be 0, and 0 plus 1 is 1. And we're going to do h of 1. So I have minus, and then in parentheses is 1, plus 1. If I figure that out, I get an answer of 0. Right? Negative 1 times a positive 1 makes that negative 1, and a negative 1 plus 1 is 0. h of 3 minus a 3 plus a 1. So I would get an answer of negative 2. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3, and negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. And then h of 5. So minus the 5 plus the 1 gives me an answer of
Negative 5 plus 1 would be negative 4.
negative 4, exactly.